You may find yourself wondering from time to time when an accountant asks you for a copy of your last year's return why they need that in order to prepare your taxes this year. And if you're a first time Revel client or you're just curious in general, here's the main reasons why we ask our clients for a copy of their prior year return. The first, it sounds obvious, but it's literally just to make sure that it's done and it's filed. It's not that we don't trust you, but there can sometimes be misunderstandings, or you think something happened that your accountant did for you in the past that might not have actually happened. So we want to look at it, make sure that it actually got filed, mainly so that we know we're coming into the relationship with everything taken care of, or if it's not, that we know that, and we know that there might be something we need to do to help you around that, and we can come up with a game plan together. So that's the first reason. The second reason is to do a quick review for errors. It's not that we're going to reconstruct the return entirely. That takes a lot of time. Actually, when we do that kind of review, which we do occasionally for clients, the costs are basically the same as it would as if we had prepared the return in the first place. And the reason is we literally have to reconstruct the entire return from every 1099, every W-2, and add up our result and then compare it to what is on the previous return. So we're literally preparing it from scratch again. That's the only way we can do that kind of detailed review. But when we ask you for your prior year return, we do give it a review and look it over to see if there's any obvious errors, things that we can tell just from how we're looking at it, where there may be a type of income that got reported in the wrong section of a return and might have the wrong treatment for it, or claiming dependents, home office deductions, all kinds of things that can be wrong, misplaced, taken in the wrong way. And we'll have a chance to talk you through that and help you understand what the impact would be of making that correction, what it would take for us to create that amended return for you, and then you get to decide whether that's something you want to pursue or not. So we will review it for accuracy in that sense on kind of a cursory level. The third reason we ask is to review carryovers. Now, there are things on a tax return, not all of them, but some of them, which carry forward from the prior year to the next year. So we literally need to know what dollar amount of, let's say, capital losses are rolling forward from a prior year. If you've used up the max you can that year and the rest is kind of rolling forward for you to use in the future, we need to know what that number is so that you get full credit for that in the current return and beyond if necessary. So we need to make sure we grab all those important carryover numbers and bring them into this return. And last but not least, we're checking for completeness this year. We're checking for completeness on the current year return. And the way we do that is by looking at everything that's a part of your prior year return and putting it on a list and saying, well, they had all of these things last year. Odds are pretty good they should have it again now. And maybe it's the case that your 1099 hasn't shown up yet and you think you have all of your documents, but you don't really because there's one that's coming late. Or maybe you happen to misplace something. It happens to everybody from time to time. And this completeness check is really helpful because if we can catch this early on, before we file it, we can save you the time and money and stress of having to file amended returns because we'll just catch it in the beginning. We'll know that if something happened last year, odds are good that it's going to show up again for you this year. And if not, then we just want to make sure there's a good reason why it's not going to appear in the current year, which does happen as well. So those are the four main reasons we ask for copies of prior year tax returns before we get started on somebody's taxes right now. So if you're a Revel client and you're curious, or if you've just been asked by another accountant and want to know why, those are probably some of the most common reasons.